The earliest agriculture in terms of seed and barley agriculture occur in northern Egypt. And those crops, the wheat and the barley, clearly came from the Near East, although there may have been some wild barley in the Delta that is covered over by water now, early sites that we can't find. But the fact is that these crops emerge in northern Egypt some 2,000 years after they were in the Near East. Some people have taken this to mean that farmers migrated from the Near East. However, that's not true. Again, this argues against some sort of migration of the Neolithic, what some people would call a particular type of diffusion, demic diffusion. This is all a part of Saharo-Nilotic Africa. The Nile Valley, Nile Valley civilization emerged from a Saharo-Nilotic base. And that if you wanted to use one skull as a denotation or connotation rather of a population, then that would tell you right there that the implication that the Egyptians had all been Near Easterners is wrong, even in the Abusir region.
There's no evidence that something called the Egyptian community or Egyptian culture was created in Syria and that a whole community of people came to the Nile Valley. The idea that you had to populate Egypt from the Near East even 50, 60,000 years ago is not necessary.
Bullshit.
This is a human skull, and these characteristics that are shown here are called non-metric traits or traits, and these are just basically anatomical variations. These traits are sometimes called epigenetic, and many people believe that, at least for certain circumstances, that using these traits are sort of like using DNA from the skeleton. My own opinion about any of this kind of research is that at a certain level, in local, in restricted time frames and in local areas, I think that these methods are very valuable. Depending on how you analyze the Badarian series, they will cluster with tropical Africans, or they'll cluster with other Northeast Africans, Super-Saharan Africans. If you use a big database and you put extreme variance in it, they'll cluster in a group with Northeast Africans, and that whole cluster will cluster with Europeans. If you use another set of variables, you'll get the Northeast Africans clustering out, and the Europeans will cluster over here, and the other Africans will cluster over there. Again, the issue is understanding your methods.
Ongoing information and fighting racism and fighting bias and misrepresentation of data in science, spinning data not telling, giving alternative stories, alternative versions of what may have happened, or why a particular state may be the case. This is a kind of, I don't know if you want to, but this kind of thing is to be criticized. Equity. We don't want equality, we want equity. Even in Europe, the modern humans who came from Africa, who went there, who still had their tropical bodies.
long-running discussion between Molefe, Asante, and myself.
Afrocentricity, or rather Pan-Africanism without Afrocentricity is a slogan. But in order to overcome the sloganizing by saying I'm for Pan-Africanism, you have to say I'm for an Afrocentric Pan-Africanism. And that way that allows us to use
there is no Greek philosophy. There is only stolen African philosophy. We are the mothers and fathers of human civilization. There is no civilization without Africans. So basically, it's a protection of this notion of white racial supremacy is to deny that there are African virgins or that there are African Madonnas in these Roman Catholic churches. Just right out deny it. Oh, no. If the people in Brazil, you got 100 million Black people who live in Brazil. Afrocentricity is not about making the world in terms of everything African.
It is important that we have accurate information. The ancient Egyptians were Black people.
There's no evidence that something called the Egyptian community or Egyptian culture was created in Syria and that a whole community of people came to the Nile Valley. We don't use those concepts of Mediterranean race, Alpine race, North. Here. Well, you ask me, very specifically, you ask me, when did Mediterranean people get to Egypt? I don't know what you mean by Mediterranean. I don't know what you mean by Negro. They have a tropical body plan. They do not have a Northern European body plan or a Siberian body plan. They do have a tropical body plan.